Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. This is a pretty ropey rack. U and V, not a good combination. So, my choices are Ivy or Viney. And I'm going with Ivy. Let me reposition this. I think I'll play it here. I'm going with Ivy because the N helps the vowel consonant balance and also goes well with the U. Not good. Duplicate I's and R's, and well, I still have the U. I can sort this out with incur. I can't see any 7s or 8s with this rack, although there could be a low probability 8. Just looking at the floaters on the board at the moment, and I can't see an 8. Ivy takes a T in front. Okay, opponent changes, which is in some ways slightly disappointing because there's nowhere for incur. I could play Kearney in column 10. It doesn't score very much and it keeps the duplicate I, which I don't want. So I could play ruin and in. Dreadful score, but an okay rack leave. Or I could play Ricey. I think I'm going to sort my rack out the best I can, which is this, for only 7 points, but the rack leave is the best leave I could have, but I'm setting up a 5-letter lane here. That just can't be best. If my word began with a C, then I wouldn't be opening up a lane. I could play Ricin, keeping UR. That has some merit. It stops my opponent placing a high value tile on this double letter square. Yep, I think I'm going with this. That looks a little better. Can't see anything. I've got scoring tiles in the H and the P. Just looking at the floaters, they are not particularly useful. The I... No, can't see anything there. Not sure about that. And it's good. Wow. Nice bingo for my opponent. 80 points, plus I lose 5. A few new floaters to consider. But are they any good? I've got the pro prefix. Okay, I'm not seeing a bingo here. What I can do is play PUH for 34 points. And I think I will. That looks close to a bingo. I would have creature if the C was 1 higher. I can't see a 7 here. And I've taken out all of the floaters in Carboid. I'm only 20 points behind, and it's early doors in the game. I'm just wondering if maybe last go I had something across from H1. So, do I have a 7 with this rack? Now, I have... Well, I was going to say armature. I don't have that. Erratum, matura, not bingos. So my opponent 50 points ahead. I've got no scoring tiles. Onto an L, I would have urethral. Through an S, austere and treasure. Can't see anything with the O. The M does look promising. But I can't see anything. So, what to do? Now, my R's can go in front of U and EH. My A can go in front of U. So I could play Tear down here for 32 points. Not a great rack leave. But I can't see a way of improving it. And I can't see a way of getting rid of the U either, which I've had since the beginning of the game. Now I draw an S, and this rack looks like it's on the brink of providing a bingo. But is there one? The Y doesn't look particularly hopeful. Now I've got IN as a pair to consider if I can't find a 7 or an 8. So I've got the out prefix. This just shows how unhelpful the U is on the rack. This is a very bingo-y set of tiles, but I'm not facing a lot of bingos. Now the M looks like it ought to go well. Temerus. I have Temerus. Great, and my opponent changes. I don't think Temerus has an anagram. It may do. So I'm going to play Temerus. Does that have an anagram? If it does, and it begins with an M or ends with an M, it would be a lot better than this. No, I'm going with this. Horrendous. Really bad. Only one vowel. And 4 heavy tiles. And the heavy tiles benefit from vowels. However, I have now moved into a lead. And there are no vowels on the board which are particularly available. My Z can go in front of ED, but ZE isn't good, so that doesn't work twice. Now my opponent changed last turn, so he's unlikely to change again. Will he open something up? A little bit, yes, and he's clearly got vowels. Now, do I have a something EZ word? I do. I have res. Wow, pretty good. I have bez, even better. So, anything better than bez? Let me see what this scores. 58 points. Fantastic. I'm going with this. And I'm going to draw 3 vowels. Well, I draw 2. So this rack is looking a little better. This Ivy opening play has really hampered development of the right side of the board. It's hard to score well in column 10 or across rows G and I, because rows G and I are non-bingo lanes, which would give access to this triple word square. In column 10, the premium squares are just triple letter squares. So all the action's happening on the left side of the board, which is now becoming pretty clogged up. I have a 70-point lead. So the clogging may be useful. However, ZO something could give my opponent a big play in column 3. If he doesn't, can I use it? Only my A goes next to ZO. Only my A and O do. So I don't have anything apart from just putting that single tile there. What about a play in row C? Nothing great. Yeah, 38 for my opponent. That could have been worse. And now I'm in a tricky spot because the board's quite tight. If I open it up, my opponent could bingo. I don't have a T for going in front of Ivy. I don't think a D goes there. I think I may have to play in column 10, but I'm going to struggle to play off the V and the W. "13 minutes on my clock. Nothing goes after IN. Well, I'm thinking about playing Dowdy, and I think I will, even though it's placing an O next to a double letter square. The rack leaf's not too bad. The other V has gone. Is this really the best I can do? 21 points is okay. It would be nice not to have a vowel next to this double word square. Well, I think I can do something better here. I think Vodi's good. And that stops the play down column 11, so that's a better play if Vodi is good. Still, only the one vowel, 2 S's. So I've got Swarf on my rack. And retaining the W rather than the V may have been useful with this LO double word square. However, that would had been of more use if I had a W with lots of vowels. Nowhere great for my S. Tear takes a D, so maybe I missed a play. Last go, WAD, WAD, 27 points. Well, Vodi has its merits. And the only real danger of Vodi, I think, is if my opponent bingos immediately through it, which he doesn't, and he's clearly swamped with E's. Only 3 E's to come. So I could play Gru. I was thinking about playing Few in this spot, but I think it's better to keep 3 vowels. 3 consonants rather than 4. And the F should help me score next go. Am I missing something better? Here. Wafers 36, I think that's better. Still 1 blank to come. I'm going with this. That looks promising. I have diriges. Does it play? Don't think so. Even takes an S. Rigid eyes. Rigid eyes through an I. This I not available. Anything through an A? Don't think so. Now, what about the N? Desiring, residing, ringside. Wow, I have a bingo through the N. Fantastic. It took me a while to spot that N as being an available floater. But it is, and I have a bingo through it. So, what if it's blocked? I have GID at 01. And, yeah, GID. Which would leave a nice rack leave. Which would go well with the... my opponent has not only taken my bingo floater, he's also scored well, 46 points, and I'm now only 30 points ahead. So, I can play Myrid, 27, or GID, 21, 6 fewer points, but Rise is quite nice as a rack leave, and the S is useful for IN. I've got 10 minutes on my clock, only 25 tails left. Am I absolutely sure I don't have a bingo with this rack? So, there's A and I as floaters. Can't see anything through them. Nothing goes after OX that I've got, so even is the N is taken out. Even does take an S. I don't think Diriges has an anagram. Diriges. Ind isn't good. Id is. Inni isn't. Let me look at the remaining vowels, just because I've struggled with them. Doesn't tell me how many are left. Something like that. 13 vowels out of 32. So there is a vowel shortage. That's conclusive enough for me. Keeping an equal number of vowels and consonants usually undesirable, but with a vowel shortage, it's better. Right, and I draw a second S, which is useful for the INS spot. I've got Prezi on my rack, which does play in column 13. Does Prezi have an anagram? I think it does. Great, Prezi still plays. Only one place to play it. But is there an anagram? Just looking at each individual letter as a potential starter. Well, even if there is, I think this is the best lane, so it won't score very much more. So, Prezi, 79. And that's pretty good. I draw the remaining blank, and the tiles to go with it look bingo-y. I have Torting and Tattooing, both of which play in columns 12 and 14. Hooking the E of Prezi. So I'm in a pretty strong position. The opponent challenges, he loses 5 points. Great. Now, 12 minutes left for him, 8 for me. Opponent on turn. Torting can begin next to the I of Prezi and Tattooing. Both of those lanes may be taken out. Neither of those bingos plays in row J. Now I could have a bingo through the I because of Tivy, but unlikely. So I'm in a fairly strong position. Only 12 tiles left. They're not massively bingo-y. No S's or blanks left and only one E. However, there will be bingos there. Elation is there. That plays. But I think there will be bingo lanes regardless of what my opponent plays, and with the blank I've effectively got 26 different racks. Just looking around for any overlooked bingo lanes. Can't see any. I've got a lot of time left, which is a nice change from my recent games. Row A could be attractive for a 5-letter play beginning with the M, or a 6-letter play. I don't have such a play myself. 8 vowels left out of 19. So it's not a massive vowel shortage, it's just a slight one. Great. 43 points for my opponent, but he has left available both of my bingo lanes. So, does it matter? Yes, it does. Tattooing would have placed a U next to this double letter square, so torting is better. Pretty good. Uilian, beginning with a U. And torting is quite nice as well, although I didn't see it at the time because AE takes nothing after it. So, in the absence of a U for Uilian, and unlineal, do I have a bingo? And the only floater I think is the G. Not available for bingos ending ing, which is a lot of its utility. So I don't think I have a bingo here. No 7-letter lanes, only one tile in the bag. And I'm 130 points ahead. Now what about row A? Can't see anything there. Only 1 point tile, so this is going to be a pretty dribby end to the game, I think. I don't think I'm going to score much more from here on in. But the job has been done. I guess playing parallel to torting may be possible. Yeah, so I can play lean. Only 15 points, but I'm going to struggle to score much more than that with this rack. Now I've got an eye for going after the Q. Okay. 16 points for my opponent. He's only got 3 tiles left, but he's got Jar and Joe, which is over 50, so I do need to take that out. How can I do that? I must avoid placing an A in that spot. So, how do I do that? Well, I could play Alien. I was looking for something a little longer. 15 points. It would be nice to go out in 2. So, 7 minutes on my clock. And Nelly is good, but that doesn't work. What about Lienel? Now I do have an out in with double N because of non, ni, and na. Do I have a second out spot? I can't see one, but one out is better than none. My opponent may not block that. He may be anxious to get his J away. Can he do that? Yes, he's got jar. So I'm going with this. The game is won. And there could be a second out, and I've now got a little time to look for it while my opponent is thinking about what to do. Great, he does play jar, and that leaves none for 11. Just wait for my opponent to formally end the game, which he does. And the final score, 331 to my opponent, 465 to me, a winning margin of 134 points. So a massive, massive win. Let's see what I missed. It was me to go first, or was it? Yes, it was. I went with Ivy, and I still like that. Not a nice rack for my opponent. He changes, and this was trouble. Yurik, I didn't see that. Making YU. That's quite a nice play because nothing goes on top of the C. Yeah, I think Yurik probably the play, but look at the scores and rack leaves. Pretty dismal. And now a great bingo by my opponent, Carboyd. Fabulous find, and I'm immediately second best, or behind my opponent by about a bingo with a non-bingo-y rack, so certainly work to do. I played Pooh for 34. Nothing obviously better, although Putcher looks quite nice. Yep. No bingo there for my opponent. He plays Monad. Now, did I miss something? No, I didn't. Fantastic. What did I do? I played Tear for 32, and that looks fine. Now, this is where all the vowels were. 6 of them on my opponent's rack. He changes. And here I play Temerus because it's the only bingo I see. What else was there? Nothing. Fantastic. My opponent still got a ton of vowels, so he changed. He changed 6 vowels. He had 6 vowels, he changed, and he has 5. Well, that's the way it goes. He scores 24, and that was quite nice for me because I can come back with a 58-point play from a pretty disappointing rack. Nice rack for my opponent. He plays Tau. And now I have a small lead, but I also have a poor rack. And I played Voddy for 17, and Wad 01 was a move I subsequently spotted. But I think Raw is a much nicer rack leave than Dorv. However, Voddy does open the board up a little bit. Although the V hampers any really high-scoring column 11 plays. Yeah, and if I'd played Waddy in that spot, my opponent's sitting there with EX for a big score. So he plays even, and I now agonise between wafers and something else. Grew, I think. Yeah, I think wafers clearly better, even though it's leaving open this fabulous X spot. Opponent plays Myrex. Now, I have Diriges, but nowhere to play it. And there was no bingo. Midge keeping IRS, that's pretty good. I dropped 9 points just to retain the E. Well, the E's worth 4 or 5, and there are only 2 E's left, so in fact, probably not very much between those plays. And especially as not only is there a shortage of E's, there's also a shortage of vowels in general, so I like my play. Opponent plays Quag. Now, there was an anagram of Prezi, Aspires, and there may be another one. Anyway, Aspires would have played here in column 13, placing an R next to this double letter square, so Prezi, I think, a better play. Yeah, because my opponent, for example, if the R had been there, could have had a play beginning KR or WR for a 30 or 40 point play. Pressy offers him nothing like that. So he plays Hoker, and that's great because I have back-to-back bingos. Taunting goes down and it's game over for my opponent. Only one tile in the bag. He plays Wanton. Wow, a bingo through the O, and I missed it. Lanolin. That would have been a grand way to go out. I missed that. Pretty high probability. And instead, I faffed around looking for something to stop my opponent sticking his J where my lanolin should have been. Okay, so a small error at the end there. Opponent plays Jar, and non was the only out for my ends. So a pretty good game. I missed a bingo, but that happens, and I won by a big margin of 120 points, which is good. So I hope you enjoyed watching that, and I will see you next time.